Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and this has been one of the hardest cars for me to review in a long time. This is the new Audi A5. It replaces the A4 in Audi's lineup, so it's sort of the entry-level sedan, even though by the most strict terms it isn't a sedan, but it has all the shape and styling and functionality of a sedan, despite being technically a liftback, although it's not an A5 Sportback liftback like the previous A5. So now you get the standard four-door layout, you get essentially a trunk, but just one where the rear window lifts up, gives you a little extra storage ability there. This is an entirely new generation of vehicle for Audi, but it still features a 2-liter turbocharged engine. It's got a 48-volt mild hybrid system, 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. This is the same 2-liter turbo that you get in upper-level Volkswagens, like the new Tiguan Turbo and the GTI, the EA888, for those of you who care. So today we're going to go through my pros and cons after spending a week with the car, and it's difficult for me to review it because the things that are good about it, the aspects, are very good, but the aspects that are frustrating are very frustrating. So we're going to break those down here for you and try to give you an impression on how this car lands in this sort of entry-level compact sports sedan luxury market. But before we get started, quick shout out to the video sponsor, LaceFit. Those of you who follow the channel regularly will know that we feature LaceFit mats in nearly all the cars we review because they help keep them clean, they're affordable, and very, very functional. So you can see here, I actually have these ones just slapped right on top of the existing mats because the existing mats are just cheap, basic carpet. But if you do live in any sort of area where you're going to be getting messy feet in your beautiful new A5, you're going to want some sort of mat that has a tray style like this to keep dirt, slush, mud, grime in this contained area so it's easy to clean out. It's got these nice little bits that are going to kind of clean and let the liquid collect under here. And then you're going to want a mat that goes way up behind the pedals as well, like this one does. The LaceFit mat's 3D measured and this nice flexible but durable TPU material. And if I could be bothered to take this out, then you'd see that this part would clip right on, like there. Very satisfying. I am just lazy, and these mats are going to go right out to anybody who wants them. So if you live in the Southern California area and would like these specific LaceFit mats for the new A5, hit me up in the comments or email, and I'll send them out to you. You can see in the rear, same thing, going way under the seats so people's feet don't get the carpet underneath messy. You can see me getting in here at 5'10". I've got headroom, although it is getting close. It's just barely enough for me to sit upright here, but I can get my feet underneath the seat right in front of me. Then you can see with that seat pushed further up how far up the mats go. They even cover the middle hump. And then with the A5 in this new sedan-ish-esque format, you can even get a LaceFit liner for the rear. Unfortunately, I do not have that, but I'll show you here what it would look like. It would cover this nice big cargo area. So shout out to LaceFit for hooking us up with mats for all of our test vehicles. Check the link below. Get a set of mats for your car. I can get you 18% off if you use the code DailyMotor and use our link. So big shout out to LaceFit, and let's get right on into our cons with the A5. Now, I initially put styling question mark for my first con because, again, I'm just so torn with this car. On one hand, I think it's striking and beautiful. On the other hand, I think it's generic and boring. And I for some people, it's going to work so well. They're going to see it and they're going to go, oh, this is an elegant, beautiful car. The lines are right. It looks modern, a little aggressive, not overly so. But other people are going to look at it and say, I can't tell the difference between this and any other sedan on the market. And in fact, looking at it here, don't the headlights kind of look like the Corolla Crosses from Toyota? Very random there. I'll put that up side by side. Either way, I guess if I'm in this market, just compared to the C-Class and the 3 Series and the Genesis, especially the G70, it's a little generic for me. And I get that Audi kind of fits that understated styling niche, but this one it's not really doing it for me. I'm sorry. The next con we mostly have to get in, but it's this combination between the use of materials inside the cabin and then the general cabin layout. again, very conflicting for this car, and you're going to hear me sort of go back and forth between the pros and the cons on some of my feelings, because on one hand, you have this beautiful, swooping, sort of metallic look. The handles, metalish, feel very nice. You have this beautiful wood grain inlay here, nice leather seats, good layout, very cool swooping lines. But then you have these piano black touch capacitive buttons that the whole thing pushes in, doesn't feel satisfying to use. And then you get inside, you sit down, and you see this huge swath of piano black plastic. And we're kind of getting a situation like some of the older Cadillac sedans where you had too much going on. You have piano black plastic, you have wood grain, you have metallic, and you have leather. And then you have these big screens. It's all over the place. But then you have all this overstyling, and you start to realize that I don't really have anywhere to put my things. I have a center console area that's barely large enough to hold a hat, not very deep, about 1 finger, 3 inches or so. This kind of spot that, I don't know, maybe you put a key in. And then you have a wireless device charger right here that takes up that whole area, 2 cup holders, and that's it. No sunglasses storage up here. This is taken up by a screen, so you just got a fairly standard glove box, and not very large door pockets. So yeah, if you're just one person driving around, I guess you can probably put things in the passenger seats or seat back pocket or something. But compared to many other vehicles, you're missing space to put things in here. So they kind of went with this over-styled and under-functional layout for the car. It's beautiful in the showroom, but when you actually live with it day to day, you start going, where am I supposed to put all my stuff? And then I have to at least mention the fact that this piano black is going to look bad after time. Now, if you're very careful, keeping it polished up and not sliding anything around, it might look okay. But it doesn't befit a nice luxurious experience in here to just have these big open swaths of plastic. And then I also would be remiss to not mention the key. This is all just a basic hard plastic key. And I had it in my hand with the Honda HR-V's key earlier this week before the vehicles got exchanged. I thought the Honda key felt nicer for that $30,000 subcompact crossover, more so than this Audi. It's a shame. And then the Audi logo on the wheel, it's all flat. It's not raised up or anything. So there's a lack of inspiration from a niceness standpoint. What is this? Is that? Oh, this is a storage compartment. Okay. Does this redeem everything? The fact you've got a little storage hidden on the left side? I mean, it actually does help. That would allow you to put some things in there. I totally missed that until now. Next con, the infotainment design. The infotainment itself is not a con to me. It's a very busy and powerful system, and it does require you to learn it. And that's fine. I'm not going to overly judge a vehicle that I only spent a week with that could very well be very powerful. I made that, not quite mistake, but I ran that risk with the Volkswagen Tiguan, but after I learned the system and spent time with it, I actually quite appreciated it. My problem with this system is, take a look here, for example, if we're in this menu. The delineation between buttons and menus and what you're pressing is very busy and difficult to see. It creates right here, perfect example. There are technically little tiny, very, very faint lines in between all of these different sections. But if you compare this to something like an iPhone, and you look at the iPhone settings screen, everything is very nicely delineated and laid out, and it's a good balance between simple and straightforward and also functional. This system is busy. There's no getting around it. It's visually busy, and it's functionally busy, which means it's powerful, but it also means people are going to get overwhelmed. And when you're coming from Audis that were so nice and simple and satisfying from their functionality, now getting into such a busy and complicated system, again, I'm not going to say that the whole infotainment system is bad. I just don't love the overall functionality of it compared to how a vehicle should be simple and elegant to use in this class. Next con, we got to start up this engine, because that is the focus of this con. Despite this being a 48-volt mild hybrid car, which is a must for me in the luxury car segment, this engine is not refined enough. How do I turn my fan speed down? I'm gonna click into this, let that load. Okay, here we go. This 2-liter turbo inline 4 does everything right on paper. I have nothing wrong with a 2-liter turbo in this class, especially because it makes plenty of power, plenty of torque, and for driving spiritedly, it's fine. The problem is, it's not refined enough for a car that, in all other aspects, is so refined, subtle, and luxurious. As I get up to speed, and you listen to it rev out, not inspiring whatsoever. For a luxury car like this, you either need to barely hear the engine at all, or it needs to sound good. And not the case with this EA888 engine. It's just simply making noise and power, not something that I want here in a luxury car. And then, if I can get it to do its auto stop start, let's see if this happens right here. No, it's not shutting off because of the air conditioning running. And then the 7-speed dual clutch. Again, dual clutches are great for sporty cars, but this isn't a sporty car, it's a refined luxury car. So the fact that you can feel shifts, especially at lower speeds, kind of getting through parking lots, coming out of driveways, anything like that, that's where this car doesn't befit the luxury car experience. When you're feeling it shift, you're feeling the engine shake on startup, and you're hearing the engine run. The BMW B48 inline 4 is so magnificently smooth, powerful, efficient, and refined. It's very difficult to cross-shop these two cars from an engine standpoint because that is just so much more impressive. And I would argue the Mercedes engine has a leg up over this one as well. Again, the fact that this engine goes into the Volkswagens, getting carried right over here into the Audis, it doesn't work for me. Okay, here we go. So the engine's off right now, and I'm going to have it start back up. Now, typically, maybe I'll add footage right here from the Volvo V90 with its 2-liter turbo and 48 volt. I'm going to turn the car on right here and watch what happens. The engine simply comes to life. In the Volvo, the engine just turns on. You barely even notice it start. Feel and listen in this one. The car shakes up, you hear the starter run. I was surprised that this was even a 48 volt mild hybrid system when I first got in it because of that stop-start characteristic. The Lascon, again, has a counterpoint in the Pro segment, but if you're somebody who appreciated Audis for a simple and understated and satisfying old school luxury experience, that's not the case anymore. Audi is absolutely aiming for a younger, more tech-heavy audience and shopper with this vehicle. And there are going to be those who are disappointed in that experience with this car. It's very overwhelming. And yes, if you're somebody who revels in the opportunity to get to learn your car and to take advantage of all its functionality and to use some of the fun gimmicky features and you like having a big light bar in front of you while you're driving at night, you're going to like this car. But if you're somebody who misses real physical controls for volume adjustments and climate, and you liked a more real and straightforward and simplicity to your luxury experience, that's gone. For better or for worse. Coming back here static for my pros, and the first one is the layout of the vehicle. I love that they went to this liftback setup for all of the kind of A4 and A5 models here, because it adds so much functionality to this vehicle. Because theoretically, if you're owning a car like this, mostly it's probably just you in the driver's seat driving yourself around, maybe one other passenger occasionally. But every now and then, you're going to have those situations where you need to move a lot of stuff or carry a lot of things. So having this big, large opening with seats that can fold down, look at that, even with the driver's seat back, well, maybe not actually. I'm going to have to move the driver's seat slightly forward. There we are. You get this cavernous area, and if I were to take this cargo cover out, I mean, that's a very significant amount of space for putting things in this car, and it's going to really beat out some of the more standard sedan layouts in this class. So I like and appreciate that Audi made the call with this one. Next pro is the trim structure on the A5. I've always appreciated how Audis have this very nice layout lately of premium, premium plus, and prestige for their trims. If you go try to configure a C-Class or a 3 Series, it's all over the place as to, okay, well, you can get these certain wheels, but you got to get this package with them, and if you want this option, then you got to have this sort of interior. It's confusing, and you can't just say, okay, I want this level in order to get this sort of functionality. The A5 is different in that, okay, if you want all the bells and whistles, you get the Prestige. If you're in the middle, you just want some niceties, you get the Premium Plus. And if you just want a basic A5, you get the Premium. Very nice and straightforward, makes shopping easy. The next pro is the build quality in this car. I have to admit that after spending time with it throughout the week, everything is solid and built well. Very little sort of creaks and rattles. Again, nice solid door thunk. Some aspects are a little bit less premium, if I dare use that word, than some people might want. But you gotta admit, the car as itself feels very well put together. Feels very German and European. I appreciate that in a luxury product. Next, you can't get over the fact that this A5 feels special. Let me fire it up here. Oh, the engine did not turn on. Why is that? I guess I didn't have my foot far enough on the brake. That's actually okay. Between all of the ambient lighting in here, the fun functionality like turning your blinker on and seeing the light bar light up on the side there, the exterior lighting, this panoramic sunroof that does this to kind of turn into an opaque sort of shaded aspect that you can sort of go halvesies on, play around with. Go halfway. There's a lot of fun functionality there. And then in this Prestige model, you get things like this passenger screen that I can fire up. And while in general, I think passenger screens are very silly, and I mostly feel that way about this car, at least I will say it's just as functional as the center screen, and it's very high resolution, very responsive, and very intuitive. And I don't know if I want to say intuitive. It's very nice feeling to use. It feels like using a touchscreen on a smartphone. And so if you can play games or use the web browser, it actually works decently well so as to maybe be where somebody might actually use this as opposed to a tablet or a smartphone. Again, I don't know why your passenger is not just going to pull out their iPhone and do things on there, but if you want to have your navigation up or something, or a video up on the screen, it does work really well. I've been in a lot of other vehicles with passenger screens where the screen, it just feels like a gimmick. So despite this car being a tad overwhelming, you have to admit that if you get out of a 3 Series or even a C-Class, definitely a G70, and you get into this, it feels like you're getting a very special, very new product, and some shoppers are really going to respect and appreciate that. Now, others are going to want a more standard, straightforward, old-school luxury approach. This car's not going to do it for them. So Audi is clearly going after that more trendy sort of buyer. The next pro, and probably the biggest one out here on the road, the ride quality and refinement in the A5. Just listen here for a moment. I'm going over broken concrete sections of highway. I'm going highway speeds here. Let's get up over 70. This car is so comfortable and quiet and refined that I often find myself going way too fast because I just don't realize I'm going that quickly because the car is so, it just rides so well, and it masks its speed so well, and is built so well. I've been really, really impressed with the ride, with the driving experience, and if only it had an engine to really meet that level of refinement, it would be an entire package, absolutely, from a driving standpoint. So wrapping up my experience here with the new A5. As I said in the beginning of the video, it's been difficult for me because there are aspects like the driving and riding experience of this car and the refinement that I'm blown away by. Slam dunk. Absolutely fantastic job, Audi. But then there's other aspects like the engine characteristics and the piano blacks in here that make me scratch my head and go, this is not a luxury car. So it's very all across the board. Again, if you're somebody who is in this class as a shopper and you really appreciate feeling like you have the most modern offering, this is it. This really nails the tech aspect well. And it's a car that you're going to be able to grow with and learn more and more about and grow to appreciate. But from just a get in and drive and sort of fade into the background in a good way, sort of luxury experience, the A5 doesn't quite do it the way that the BMW does. The 3 Series is still a better driver's car. And it's the more simple option as well. And I would argue the new G70 is actually the most luxury from a basic and ease of use standpoint, from a simplicity sort of standpoint. Current leaders of the Daily Motor Leaderboard, we've got the Ford F-150, the Hyundai Santa Fe, and the Honda Passport. Competitors here, we've got BMW's M340i in 7th place. Obviously that had the much bigger motor, sort of a sportier type of car. I haven't really reviewed too many sedans though this year. We had the Sonata Hybrid, obviously that's a class below. Audi A5 Prestige. This car is going to be pretty forgettable for me. It really is. So we're going to go right above the Tundra. Yeah, right above the Tundra, 26th place. It just is a car. There's not enough here for me to really be wowed or impressed holistically. So if you're in the market for an Audi, great. But I think back to something like the Audi A6 I drove a year or two ago, or sorry, the S6. And that was a car that really left me stirred, and I remember it, and I loved it. I did. This one is just like, I'd still take a G70 or a 3 Series. So thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the A5, check the link below. I think the most interesting to most people here is going to be our review of the Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system. Again, didn't really blow me away, which is why it's not on the pros list, but also not on the cons either. Another shout out to our sponsor, LaceFit. Get yourself a set of mats for any car that you got, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on. Quick epilogue with my time here with the A5. I finished shooting the review and went to shoot the sound system review, and I tried to set my cruise control and it said adaptive cruise assist not available, see owner's manual. I think this is the 3rd straight Volkswagen Automotive Group product that I've gotten that's had some sort of malfunction when I had it. Maybe the ID Buzz was problem free, but the Atlas and the Tiguan and now this A5 have all had some sort of issue while I've had the car, and they've all been electrical related issues. Different warning lights coming up, certain functionality not working. In the Atlas, my seat adjustment didn't always work. So how am I going to recommend a product when every time I drive something from that brand, it's not working properly? You guys have been making cars for how long now? And these are the type of issues that we're getting? It's frustrating to me. It's one thing if, okay, well, you know, you got this cool ambient lighting aspect, but I'm not a big fan of it, or an advanced aspect of the infotainment doesn't work super well, or something like the massaging seats aren't great. Okay, fair enough. That's not a big deal. But basic aspects like cruise control, adaptive cruise assist not available, see owner's manual. How can I recommend a car when the cruise control is not working properly? Very, very frustrating, and it makes me not even want to drive products from this brand. That's to the point that it's gotten to. So I'm ready to be done with this car.